If you remember part 1 and part 2, we went over websites and online presence, effective marketing, marketing and branding. And now we're going to dive into the last 3 small categories of this, which are customer service and support, business strategy and operations, and staying ahead of the game. All these things that I've been going over, each individual one of these, by the way, is in its own right really important. And if you can combine as many of these things into your strategy, into your website, into your business, then you are going to stand a much better chance of being more successful than somebody else. There is literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people all doing the same kind of thing as you are. And what you want to do is to give yourself the best edge that you possibly can within that marketplace, so that you are then getting a larger slice of the cake. Okay, so let's look at customer service and support. Number 1 is excellent customer service, providing timely and helpful customer service to build trust and loyalty. What does that basically mean in layman's terms? It means that if a customer is happy or unhappy, that there is a means for that person to get in contact with somebody, okay, to sort out their problem for them. Now, this could be in any way, shape, or form. It could be via a chat bot that is front loaded or front ended with AI, so that the AI filter through questions before it gets to a customer service provider. Or you can have virtual, actual telephone. People can ring up and speak to a real person about any of the problems that they have. Whichever route that you decide to do within your own business, having that gap between being virtual and something that is offline makes an awful lot of difference as far as customer service and confidence and trust and loyalty all comes from. If you can nail that, then you are more likely for people to stay with you and or sell more products to them. Why? Because they feel comfortable where they are. It's a place that they know that they can get something fixed if something goes wrong. They know that there is somebody there if they need to get hold of them. All of these things add up to a good customer experience, and that is exactly what you're after. Address customer concerns. Be responsive to customer inquiries and complaints. I've said many, many times that a complaint can be turned into one of your best assets that you have if you handle it correctly. People, when they complain, they do it for a reason. Many people don't like complaining. Many people do it because they feel that they are pushed into something. They don't want to come across the way they are, but they feel the need that they have to complain. Obviously, listen, we have many Karens about and people who are almost professional complainers, but they are very, very few and far between. For the majority of people, they just want to have what they've ordered working as it should do, and they are happy as Larry with that. If somebody comes with a complaint that's certainly legitimate, that is something that should be looked at, this is really where the business comes into its fore. If a customer inquiry or complaint comes in, it's how you respond to that complaint that will build loyalty for you and your customer base, because you are prepared to do something about that complaint, either take it on board, change something, or turn it around so that that customer then goes away happy. Having the ability to do that means that you have to look at the customer service side of your business to make sure that is up to standard with what you are trying to achieve within your business. I've said this before, haven't I? That when we got going with OnPassive a couple of years ago, and it was going very, very well at the beginning, the one area that was lacking, in my opinion, and letting us down certainly was the customer service end. Trying to get answers out of the customer support system was very hard. It was frustrating. And all of these things aren't at the level as the business was in those days. I'm sure, knowing what went wrong beforehand, this is certainly going to be an area moving forward into the next phase that our CEO Ashwin Farah is going to make sure that is up to scratch and fit for purpose. And the last one in customer service and support is customer feedback. Gathering feedback from customers to improve your products and services is key for your success. How's that done? Very easily. You would do questionnaires. You send that. How many times have you bought something, hired a car, you've gone on holiday, all of these sort of things. The day that you get back, you get an email for your feedback on how things were. Okay, just a minute's worth of tick boxes, all the rest of it. This is giving vital information back to the business of how they performed in your eyes. Then that gauges that analytical data that they get from this feedback, enables them to make tweaks, to make changes in the areas that are highlighted the most. We're not saying that every single thing that is put in a feedback form gets changed. What they're looking for is a trend. They're looking for the analytical data that comes back, and the ones that stand out, then they can make sure that those are either changed, enhanced, or whatever the question is that they're asking. So it really is important to gather that information from customer feedback at the end of either the sale or they've been using something or whatever it may be. The next category is business strategy and operations. First on there is market research, understanding your target audience and their needs. Really is important, isn't it, that whatever business you are in, whatever you have decided that this is going to be the thing that you're going to do, that you understand the products and services that you are selling and who you are going to sell them to. For instance, okay, there is no point in selling, let's have a look, let's say cream cheese to the center of Africa where it's roasting hot and they got no way of keeping it because it would go off. That is not what your audience is going to be. You have to know what demographics, what part of the world is more likely going to be your sales area. All of these analytical data that we're talking about here, doing the market research, understanding your target audience and actually what they want is key to your success. How do you do that? Same as before. You do feedback forms, you send stuff out to gauge where it is. You can also do tests of advertising to see what feedback you get in certain places from the adverts that you are putting out. You could make a sweetener with it, with 10% discount coupons, etc. like that. See and gauge how that area responds to your products, to your services, and to your engagement. Very, very important to look at as part of your strategy for being successful online. Goes without saying that having a business plan is way up there with being successful online. Developing a comprehensive business plan that outlines your goals and strategies is key. Why? Because it gives you focal points, it gives you references, it gives you where you think you should be at a certain point of time. All of these things help you in your business with going along your business journey and how successful you are going to be within that. If you've just stuck something on the back of a cigarette packet of a couple of things, that is not going to give you the right outcome. It's going to give you a cigarette packet with some writing on the back of it. It's not going to give you a well resourced, well thought out, efficient business. You have to look at it. Every single step of what I'm talking about now has to be done as professionally as possible so that you have a professional business that gives exactly the right impression to the person who you are trying to sell to. If you're going to look at a used car, right, if it hasn't been cleaned, if it hasn't been valeted, stood by exactly the same car that is shining, valeted, smells nice, looks good, which one do you think is going to sell? Of course, the one that smells and looks good. And this is exactly the same when you are designing, looking at businesses, looking at you out there in the open market. People have choices, and what you want is for them to choose you. And this comes from your business strategy and operations. That plan has to be refined, it has to be specific, it has to outline the goals and the strategies that you are trying to achieve. Financial management is also extremely important with being successful online. You might have situations where 1 month you do exceptionally well, but 1 month isn't going to make you a successful business. It's how you produce month on month, year on year, that brings the success. So you need to have a good financial management of your business. Track your expenses and revenues to ensure profitability. What do I mean by that? If you have a good month, don't go and blow it all on something you don't need, so that you've got nothing left spare in the tank. You need to have that buffer so that if things start going sideways or there's a downturn, you have a little bit of leeway left in the tank that you can soak it up and change directions. I'll give you a perfect example of this, and that was from my father, and I did this as well when we had the pub. Every single week I used to do a forecast. So I did a weekly, monthly, 3-monthly forecast of our business, and that was documented on spreadsheet so that we knew exactly where we were. Within that documentation was our sales, what we'd sold, the breakdown between food, wet, accommodation, staffing figures, overheads, all these sort of things were all in there. I even put down every single day what the weather was like as well, because funnily enough, that has an impact an awful lot on the hospitality trade. So why did I do 1 week, 1 month, 3 months? And the whole reason is that when you do this regularly over a period of time, it starts building a picture. The 1 week forecast only does that 1 week. The month forecast, yeah, you start to get a bit of a trend month on month of what's happening. But the real information came from the 3-monthly forecast. This gave you a really big picture, a bit like standing back, okay, and then looking at your business. It gave you a much more overall look at the business. But the main thing it did, it allowed you to be proactive in your business to change things before they started going wrong. Why? Because over the period of years that you did this, you will see at this time normally of this year, on my 3 monthly forecast, we should be going in this direction. And if we're not, and we're going in this direction, then it gives you the opportunity to change something, to maybe put out offers, to maybe do specials, or whatever you want to call, whatever your business is, to be able to adjust that figure so that it then starts going in the right direction. And if you did not have this grasp of financial management and tracking the expenses and all the rest of it, then you wouldn't be able to do that. This is where the business side of strategy comes into so much more. I'll tell you something else as well, and this is also very true. My father used to say, you can be a fantastic tradesman, but an absolutely rubbish businessman. And again, they're very true words. You can be extremely good at your trade. You could be the best chef, you could be the best carpenter, you could be the best electrician that is out there. Are you going to get work? Yes, you are. But if you're not a good businessman, if you're not good with that business, not good with the money, not good with paying the bills, not doing your taxes, not doing all the sort of things that you should do in business, then you're not going to be successful. Everything that I've talked about now is not Redfern making it up. Everything that I'm talking about over the last 3 parts of this is all very well documented. Why is it documented? Because it is the backbone of success, either in an online business or something that is on the high street or anything else. This is why it is very important that if you want to have that success, you have to implement as many of these things that I've been going over to give you the best chance. Operational efficiency is a massive part of your business strategy and operations. Optimizing your process to improve efficiency and reduce costs is going to make a difference. What's that in layman's terms? It means you are getting the most amount of profit out of what you are producing. Fixed overheads is always the biggest killer in any business. And what are fixed overheads? Electric, light, wages, raw materials, rents, taxes. All of these are fixed costs. And if you can reduce those fixed costs, then you are going to make more profit, but you're also going to be more efficient at what you are doing, because the wastage part of it, okay, helps you to be more profitable. For instance, efficiency in business now is a real buzzword. Why? Because people are looking at areas they never looked at before that humans used to do the job for, to make things more efficient so they save money but also keep that productivity going. AI, for instance, robotics, for instance, all of these now are being looked at more and more within business to make that part of your business more efficient and much more cost effective. This is why it really is important that you instigate as many of these, what I'm talking about, into your business so that it brings that efficiency, operational costs into the right area of where you want to be. And the last one is continue to improve. Constantly evaluating your business and make improvements based on the data and customer feedback that you've got from the analytics is key to being successful. I can name already 2 straight off my head of very successful businesses that never did this, and now they're no more. Blockbuster and Nokia phones. What they didn't do is exactly that. They didn't constantly evaluate their business and make improvements based on the data that they had within the marketplace, and certainly not from customer feedback. They thought because they were so successful that they didn't need to change. The biggest mistake many businesses make is exactly that. They don't feel they need to change. All they do is keep on going with the same business model that they've got, and this will end eventually in failure. You see it all the time. And this is why I firmly believe that what is happening now with us within OnPassive and moving into the next phase is exactly this. We've looked at our business, we have decided and evaluated that the old business model is not worth making improvements to. So we've managed to go into this next phase with a brand new start, with brand new things, and then we will go and move from there. The last part I'm going to talk about is staying ahead of the game. Very key element, and one that certainly our CEO Ashmi Farah has talked about many, many times. He even said it on the last webinar that he will be telling us about number 5 when they've already done number 10. He's told us before that how far forward in advanced our products and service are compared to others. We've seen them, and we now see our competitors implementing a lot of our ideas into what they are doing right now. Having that edge, staying ahead of the game, is a surefire way of your business having the longevity that it deserves. Competitive research, monitoring your competitors and stay informed about industry trends is key. Things change very quickly in the online world, and being up to date with the next trend and being able to instigate that next trend into what your business is doing will be a surefire way of increasing your sales. Adapting to change, be flexible and willing to adapt to the changes of your market also increase your chances of staying ahead of the game. And the last one is stay updated on best practices. This means continuously learning and improving your online business skills. Again, what did our CEO say about marketing? We had that conversation, I think, after the very first webinar we did. I asked him the question about his marketing ability and what he'd done before. And guess what he said? I'm not looking at that anymore. That style of marketing has finished. We don't do those styles of marketing. The new way of marketing is going to be AI marketing. This is somebody continually learning and improving those business skills to keep the business ahead of the game, not being scared to dive into new technology, utilize new skills where it's needed. And this is exactly what our CEO and Ashmi Farah is doing. So by focusing on these key areas, you can significantly increase your chances of building a successful business. There's 5 elements really, and that is website and online presence, marketing and branding, customer service and support, business strategy and operations, and staying ahead of the game. If you can utilize in some way, shape or form many of those into your online business, then you are standing a much better chance of being successful. Why? Because you are continually looking at your business and saying to yourself, how can I improve this? How can I make it better? What can I do to make my business more efficient? How can I do whatever it may be with my business to make it better? Anyway, guys, I hope it's been of interest to you, this little series of online business. Take a look at it for yourself and dive into it a little bit more, because the more that you can learn about it, the more that you can take what I've been teaching you and implement it into your online business, the more successful you're going to be.